We are Gold Ivy, a health company dedicated to simplifying health and wellness. The industry is lacking the honest experience and grit required to overcome the struggle, and we're here to fill that gap.
You decide what works for your daily life and how to transform our lessons into your gold. Join us on the fearless pursuit of self-discovery and growth.
This is Ivy Unleashed,
a Gold Ivy production.
Hello, welcome back. You are listening to Ivy Unleashed. You're here with Brooke and Andrea, and we have a very, very exciting guest in the house.
Yes, Nikki Vanecek, the founder and owner of EastWest Acupuncture. Welcome to Ivy Unleashed.
Thank you, girls. It was so fun to be here. I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. I'm so excited for this guest because she came to my life in a time where I really needed her. As we know, and I talk about my experience with Western medicine, and I've touched a little bit about alternative medicine. And Nikki is my acupuncturist. So she's going to take a deep dive into all things Chinese medicine and acupuncture. Andrea doesn't really know anything about.
I have so many questions.
So this is going to be fun because I'll try and explain to Andrea what it is. And she's like, huh? Like, are you speaking to me in Chinese?
I mean, I've heard of Chinese medicine. It's not like I haven't heard of it, but when you are a pretty healthy person, you know, and you don't really need to go to a doctor unless you're like having a baby or you do your yearly checkup. It's not something you have to look into too much. Although I want to hear the benefits because I'm sure there's things that it can do for me. So just to kind of dive into this, Nikki, how did you get into acupuncture and Chinese medicine?
Well, I always wanted to be a doctor. Ever since I was little, I wanted to be an ER doc. That was my goal. So I started my journey into, school and college and had my son. And I just eventually realized, I'm not going to be able to be the mom I wanted and be an ER doc. So I was kind of in a conundrum and didn't know what to do and wasn't quite sure what other area of medicine I wanted to go into. So I kind of took a little bit of a sabbatical. And during that time, I had been suffering with shoulder pain for so long. And I'd done, cortisone shots and PT and chiropractic and massage, and nothing was helping. So I finally went, my friend said, hey, go try acupuncture. And coming from a Western medical background, I was like, oh, that sounds stupid. But at that point, I was willing to do anything. So I went and saw an acupuncturist, Dr. Ray Liu, in Minneapolis. And I couldn't believe it. Because when I got there, he's like, stick out your tongue.
Stick out your tongue?
In Chinese medicine, we look at the tongue as a part of a diagnostic tool.
What? Yeah. What does my tongue say?
Well, one, that you're amazing.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
That's Andrea, if you guys are wondering, listening.
It looks good?
Well, everybody's tongue's different, but it looks like you probably get a little bit warm at night, maybe when you're sleeping.
Yep.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
No.
What about my tongue?
Well, yours is a little sunken in the front there, and that just says that the digestive system is deficient.
Ding,
Are
ding,
you
ding.
a psychic as well, or is this you literally just like a tongue?
Yep. It's because that's what the tongue says. So I went home for a couple months, and my shoulder pain was gone. But the best part was my son at the time was, I think, 12. And something happened with him and his sister. And I was like, hey, buddy, can't do that. Not cool. And he came up and he gave me a hug. And he's like, I like this, mommy. So I was like, oh, my gosh, I was a crabby lady. So then I was like, oh, my gosh. Okay, well, maybe I'm going to go into Chinese medicine. So I looked into it a little bit and found out there was a school in Bloomington, Northwest Health Science University, that had a Chinese medical program. I applied, was accepted, and went into it blindly. Had no idea anything about alternative medicine other than chiropractic care. Didn't know about Chinese medicine to save my life. But
What was that training like?
So Chinese medicine is a doctorate program.
Okay.
So at Northwestern, though, it's accelerated. So it's only 3 years because they are not going to give you much time off because they know you won't come back. It's a very rigorous and very intense program because it is Western and Eastern based. So for our anatomy classes, we did do cadaver labs because you need to understand the anatomy of the human body. And then we had our, Eastern medical classes. So when you finally finish your 3 years, then you have 4 medical boards in which you have to take.
Wow.
And so then once you finally finish and pass all your medical boards, then you get your license from the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice to practice Chinese medicine.
Oh.
And you can help people like me.
Yeah. Then we can stick needles in everyone.
So for people who are like, okay, you're saying acupuncture, but what does that mean?
So Chinese medicine has an umbrella of different techniques underneath it. So acupuncture is just one of the tools we use. We also use cupping, herbal medicine, gua sha, which is a tool kind of like Raston's. That
I don't know what that is. What's that?
So gua sha, we take a jade stone,
Okay.
and it's basically like we're working to release the fascia
Okay.
to help smooth that out so that there's better blood flow and circulation to the muscle.
Do you have like a sampler pack someone can buy to come and try all of the things?
Yep.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
You would be in awe.
It's just crazy. It's just amazing. And then we also have Tuina, which is kind of like muscle release technique, food therapy, which is a huge one because the way that Chinese medicine looks at food therapy is very different than Western medicine.
How
Nutrition.
so?
So in Chinese medicine, every person's different. So what we would think that would be appropriate to eat and healthy to eat on the Western standpoint, which would be, eat, salads and raw foods and don't eat red meat and don't eat butter and eggs and all those kind of things. In Chinese medicine, we look at it specifically for the person and their condition. So one person may be coming in that has a digestive issue and they're like, well, if I eat salad, I have to run to the bathroom. Well, in Chinese medicine, that's because the yang of their body isn't strong enough to be able to warm up and break down salad. So then I would offer to them to eat more protein, warm protein, and cooked vegetables, and no cold drinks to help strengthen their digestion so that basically when you eat something cold for some people, it's like your raging campfire of a digestive system ends up with a bunch of wet leaves on it. Then your body can't digest what you're eating, and then you don't get the nutrients.
So how do you know? Do you find that out from what they tell you about how their body's working, or can you like look at them and see them or do tests to find out like, oh, you need cold or you need hot?
Based on their symptoms, right?
Yep. So the way that when a new patient comes in, we do a head to toe assessment. So in Chinese medicine, there's meridians, right? So there's 14 different meridians, and you can think of them like a highway system. And these 14 different meridians have specific organs in which they govern over, locations that they govern over, neurological functions that they govern over. So basically anything that can impact our body environmentally or physically, there's a meridian or a highway that's supposed to keep things working appropriately.
How the body, inside the body, talks to each other.
Exactly. And so what happens is we end up with like a traffic jam somewhere. And whether that's due to injury, illness, disease, what have you, then that creates a traffic jam within that meridian system. Then we start having symptoms. So typically what we feel, whether it's pain or digestive issues or a headache or something like that, that's a symptom of an imbalance of something in our body. And then acupuncture helps to correct the imbalance, remove the blockage, and get the body to start working appropriately.
So interesting.
What I love about it is it's looking at the root cause of it.
Correct.
And that's what was appealing when I saw Nikki after talking to so many Western med docs and them wanting to treat the symptoms.
Right.
And so that's kind of alternative medicine as a whole is they're treating the patient, the person. And that's like what you're saying. There is no one diet fits all. There is no one do this and you'll be cured. It's what specifically is causing you the issue, and how do we fix the issue and not the symptom?
Right. And so the name of my clinic is EastWest Acupuncture because I have a strong desire to bridge the gap between Eastern and Western medicine for the benefit of the patient, but also for the benefit of all the practitioners and doctors and teams and staff, because doctors end up with trying to treat, okay, you come in with foot pain. Okay, let's fix your foot. But then it's like, well, it didn't get fixed because in Chinese medicine, we're going to fix your foot, but we're also going to fix why your foot hurts because we need to figure out what happened in that meridian system that created the pain. So when physicians have a hard time helping a patient, we want to be that collaborative care that says, hey, great try. Let's see what we can do for this patient. And same for ours, where we're like, gosh, you know what? What we're doing isn't really seeming to change your symptoms. Let's have you go get a scan. Let's have you go talk to this person so that we can figure out if there's something that we might be missing. And that's the goal, is that we then start thinking pains and illnesses and not sleeping well is normal. Or we have to live with it. And my goal was, like, for the reason why I went into Chinese medicine is if I can help one person heal their ailment and give them a better life, I'm a happy girl. That's all I want to do.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking of the people that are listening or people who haven't experienced it before, like Andrea, and who are like, this all sounds great.
Right.
Right. So just kind of some of the misconceptions that you hear a lot when it comes to Chinese medicine and patients coming in. I'd love to hear what you hear.
Oh my gosh. The best one is, first, did you go to school for this? And so I'm kind of snarky and I think I'm funny. And so I'll be like, no.
They just gave me some needles.
Yeah. I was like, no. They're like, really? I'm like, no, we did. A lot of school. Lots of school. Still even have a little bit of a student loan bill to show for it. Do you want to see it?
Want to help me pay for it?
Yeah. And then, or they'll say, does this work? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's see.
Let's try.
Yeah. I'm like, 4,000 years. Who knows? And I'm like, well, my clinical experience of 11 years. Yeah. Proven quite a few successes.
Well, I feel like that's got to happen though with people. I mean, I'm sure it's hard with all that your experience and expertise and knowledge to be like, really? You're really going to ask me that? But in our culture, you don't hear about Chinese medicine. It is not covered in the news. It's not big on media.
Right.
I mean, it depends on obviously who you follow and pick and choose to follow.
Right. And that's the thing too, is that's why I bring humor to it, because it's like, that's fine. And you know what? I embrace the skeptics, or the one who comes into the clinic. They're like, well, I don't know. My doctor told me to come here. And I'm like, well, we better thank that doctor because he just got you to feel better.
Yeah.
Tell him one. And I've learned to embrace it, because for the last 11 years, when I first started, they're like, is that voodoo? And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know what voodoo is, so I'm not sure if I'm practicing it or not.
Pretty sure I had to do a lot of scientific studies and research here.
Yeah. So within that, though, those questions that I've learned, it's also helped me to then be able to have those conversations. People say like, well, I don't mean to offend you. And I'm like, well, I didn't invent it. I just do it. So it's fine. I think the other misconception that people say is, oh my gosh, I feel so good. This is like magic. I'm like, whoa. No, it's not.
It's your body working.
Yeah, I'm like, your body. And that's a part of it too, is like every person's body, their rate of response to acupuncture is so different. Mm-hmm. Some people respond right away. Some people, it takes, 10 to 20 treatments, because their body's this is more of a chronic condition in which they haven't been aware of. Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest ones is, no, it's not magic.
Right.
And then people will say, I really believe in it. And I'm like, that's cool. It's not a religion. It's just medicine. But that's awesome. I appreciate that. I believe in you too. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's cool how I love that East-West idea and how it comes together. And I guess thinking of people that this is new to, and the experience of being in Western medicine your whole life, what is the initial examination? How is that different from like if you were just to go for a checkup versus, like you said, a whole body? Like, what do you go
How did you know what to do with me when I walked in? You're like, this girl. And I walked in and I was like, I just don't know what to do. You're like, I remember, you're like, oh, sweetie, it's okay. We got you. And I'm like, I don't know what you're going to do, but just your presence and just listening to me. I'm like, okay, I feel safe. Yeah. Oh. You care. But now what?
Yeah. So that is the one thing that I'm so grateful for, is it is a private practice that I own. Me and my associates, we get to take that time. Mm-hmm. We don't have that pressure of administration or an insurance company telling us we only have doctors and nurses and PAs are typically allotted anywhere from like 5 to 7 minutes with a patient.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But that's
Western medicine.
Yeah, and I have to remind myself, like, it's not their fault.
No, right. And so I have the luxury of saying with my patient, being like, well, we're going to talk head to toe. So when you come in for an issue, we're going to talk about your sleep. We're going to talk about your poop. We're going to talk about your digestion. We're going to talk about your mother. We're going to talk about how you feel about your mother. We're going to talk about all that kind of stuff, because that really makes us who we are. Mm-hmm. And so we try to understand everything from, how do your fingernails grow? I mean, I had one patient who's like, my eyelashes fall out in spring. I'm like, oh yeah. I go, how's your digestion? She's like, not really good. And then I kind of asked her a couple more questions about her digestion. And I was like, do you get pretty weepy? She's like, yeah. And it was because that meridian during that time of year becomes very weak, and it can't hold on to her eyelashes or her digestion or her tears. So by strengthening that meridian and lifting it up, her eyelashes stayed
How did
in.
you lift it up?
By different acupuncture points to help basically get that traffic to move up instead of down. And then the herbal formulas that we use, We use different herbs that help to strengthen that meridian and keep everything contained so that she didn't lose her bowels, she didn't lose her eyelashes, and she didn't lose her tears.
Are these things that she has to continue using, or is it like, okay, for 30 days, let's have you do this tea, these supplements, or is it a lifelong thing to strengthen that meridian back up?
For her, that will be more than likely something that she'll do forever because she was in her later 30s. Okay. So that is just kind of like the constitution of her body. Like we're all born with a certain constitution and disposed to different conditions. Mm-hmm. Whether we look at that, Western or we look at that in Eastern terms, we're all predisposed to some sort of imbalance. So some people, when they come in with a condition, we're able to just help correct it, heal it, recover, and they're good. Some people, like me, I had a tendency, like, ooh, crabby lady, right? Well, that's my predisposition. So I gotta work on that all day, every day. So I take a specific herbal formula and do acupuncture maybe like once a week to every other week, just to make sure I keep those meridians moving so that I don't turn into crabby lady.
So how do you know that it's working? If it is something that is lifelong, or I guess for someone who's struggling, they go and do acupuncture and it's like, okay, all right, I know it has to be more than one time, but now it's been 6 months and I'm not noticing it. Is it something that I just need to keep doing, or is this not working?
So I would say there'd be two different things we would say to a patient. Like one, if it's pain, and we've done at least like 20 treatments, which sounds like a lot, but it takes a lot to fix things. And that's when I would, first we do a check-in at 10 treatments. And then I would offer, okay, let's maybe refer you to someone for imaging, blah, 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 blah. And then they come back, we keep going. But it also depends on like, what is the person doing outside of the treatment room?
Right.
So that's the biggest piece of it too. So it's like, how is your emotions? How is your sleep? How is your this? Because that is all going to play a role. So a good part of it too is just educating the patient. Like it might take us to get you from here to here in like 20 treatments, and we might then need to see you once a month. It's no different than if you go to the gym and you finally got the rockin' bod that you want, whatever that might look like to you.
You got to keep it up.
You got to keep it up. You can't just be like, oh, well, look at me now. And then all of a sudden like not go anymore.
Right.
So it can, definitely be maintenance, but everybody's a little bit different. So there's not a perfect answer, but the goal in Chinese medicine is I want to get you feeling your best you. And that's up to you what that means.
Yeah.
It's not what I think it is.
I don't get how Western medicine has not adopted this more. Like everybody is different with.
Well, I think when you think of the last even few years, it's this holistic approach that is now getting publicized, and people are now starting to understand the brain gut connection and all these things. People are now, maybe it's with social media, they're more open to talk about it, more open to talk about their struggles.
Well, that's the thing too, is that's a great point, because there's so many of us that think that, oh gosh, I just wake up with a headache, my normal headache, or gosh, you know what? Oh, it's Tuesday, so I have my normal backache.
Or like you're telling me it's not normal to be constipated for 30 days?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope. Or like, oh gosh, it's normal to have hot flashes. So we've just learned to think that since I'm not, dying, or it's not catastrophic, it's normal when it's not. And there are things that we can do to take away pains. Or like you're supposed to sleep for 6 hours solid and not wake up. And people say, well, I wake up to pee. Your bladder does not wake you up. That's why children and old people pee the bed.
Interesting.
Because neurologically, your bladder will not wake you up. You are waking up from your brain, not staying asleep, and then think, oh, I got to go to the bathroom.
So I got to figure out what's causing you to wake up.
Exactly.
It's not your bladder.
It's not your bladder.
What is it typically besides like your temperature of being hot or cold?
Usually it's because you don't have enough, you have too high of cortisol, and the GABA release hormone is not activating. So therefore you're not able to stay asleep because you're too stressed during the day.
I remember Danielle talking about that, how your cortisol spikes right before you wake up, which makes sense.
Cause you to wake up.
Yep.
So interesting. I want to hear more about these meridians. I am so intrigued by them.
Meridians are so cool. So meridians, this is what they govern over. They govern over a specific local function.
So think pathways in the body that are connecting your organs.
Everything.
Yep. Okay.
So meridians
Wait,
govern.
how is this different from like blood vessels and veins? I know this, I'm very basic, but I don't understand.
No, that's a great question. So meridians are non-tangible. So we haven't been able to prove that they physically exist.
Oh.
So think about it like this. Longitude and latitude, right? Overlay the earth. It's how planes, trains, and ships get where they need to go. Acupuncture meridians are just a grid system that overlays our body, that tells our body how to heal, how to talk to each other, how to recover.
My mind is blown.
Could you say it's like energy?
So the energy that runs through these meridians is like the current of the ocean, right? And how the current of the ocean changes with the time of day, changes with the rotation of the earth. So if you think about chi as movement and current, what happens when the ocean's current's off? Tsunamis, typhoons, changes the weather throughout the whole world. So that's what the chi of the body is. It's the current that keeps everything moving, keeps our heart pumping. Peristalsis of the intestines helps with movement of hormone, firing connections in the brain, connecting, brain to hand to foot. So when the chi is off or the current is off, that's in the meridians is going to cause symptoms. So meridians are in charge of times of day. Meridians are in charge of emotions, seasons, taste, smell. So anything that happens at they're like, oh, I wake up between 1 and 3. Yeah, because that meridian is deficient and it's not staying, traffic's not moving, the current's not moving to keep you asleep.
Something's disrupting it.
Yep. And then that's when it would lead me to a question of saying, well, then, how do you feel, during the day? How's your digestion? How do you feel after you eat these kinds of foods? How do you feel at this time of day? And that would then also help me understand that meridian between 1 and 3 a.m. also governs over your eyes. How's your vision at night? How do you drive at night? Do you have any eye floaters? Things like that. And then that helps me understand what meridian is kind of like the foundational meridian that's causing the symptoms. And then we want to find the pair to that meridian so we can balance that meridian out too. Otherwise, they're just going to keep pulling from each other and messing things up.
Like a traffic jam. So how does acupuncture, how do these needles that are put in me help strengthen this energy or the meridian?
Okay, so if you think about it like this, if we're on 494 and we're heading east and we're supposed to be going 55, and then we want to get from 494 and we want to take the Rockford Road exit. So if traffic should be going 55, but it's only going 30, it's not moving the way as fast as it needs to. So it's trying to get to that off ramp. So what the acupuncture points do is they're informational road signs for the traffic to say, oh, you're not going fast enough. And so you put the point in and it helps tell the traffic, oh, I'm supposed to be going 55. Oh, if I want to get to Rockford Road to help out this guy so that my digestion works and I can stay sleeping, oh, I got to go this fast.
It's like a little kick in the butt.
It's a little kick in the butt. And it's like, I got to go this fast and I got to make sure I take this exit to make sure this all works.
So interesting.
So if someone has a headache that's on the right side temple area that comes from the back of the head and then feels like it comes around the ear and then pokes you in the back of the eye, I'm going to use points in the left foot with the governing meridian because I need to turn the green light on down there because the traffic jam's up here. So if I just stick needles directly into the traffic jam, it will help disperse the traffic, but it's not going to help correct it. So traffic will move, but it's more than likely just going to start to get back into a traffic jam if I don't reroute it and work with the brain and body to change the way things are firing.
That makes sense why you'd have to do it so many times too, because how long can you sit with the needles in you?
So in Chinese medicine, it's about 28 minutes.
Okay.
So in the ancient text of the Neijing, 28 minutes is what it takes for qi or traffic to circulate. And then they did an MRI a few years ago, and they thought that when you did acupuncture, it actually, for pain, they thought it decreased the pain receptors in the body. So then they did acupuncture points and did an MRI, but they actually realized it lit up areas of the brain to release endogenous opioids that help decrease pain. So they watched the cycle, and after 28 minutes, the area of the brain that lit up started to quiet down. So it was really cool that they were able to prove from the Neijing, which is thousands year old, to today with an MRI that the 28-minute cycle of qi truly exists.
Really works.
Really works. And even me, I'm like, how did they know that? Did they even have a stopwatch? I don't think so.
What's the science behind it? What's the proof?
I know. See, that's my brain where I'm like, and I'm like, they're like, oh, you have to just believe. No, I don't. I want some proof.
I need some evidence.
And then
there
now
it is.
Yeah, with the MRI, I was like, oh, okay.
Speaking of evidence, I want to hear some stories, success stories about people that you've worked with and what you've done, and not just acupuncture. I kind of want to hear other stuff because like I've heard of cupping, and I know some of my fellow health coach friends do it, and I've never really asked like what benefits that brings.
Okay, so there's so many. I know, I'm just like, what? Okay, so one is since January, so like 3 months, I've helped 8 women get pregnant.
What?
Yeah, it's just like, because unfortunately,
I know one in my neighborhood that did acupuncture. Now she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Now that I think of that.
Yeah. And the thing is so one of the moms, she has a daughter, and she's 5, and they've been trying to have a baby, and there's nothing anatomically wrong with her. So there's nothing, and she doesn't want to do the fertility treatments or anything like that because 1, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
And 2, it's, there's not a guarantee. I mean, you're talking like anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000. And they have a daughter, and they're very happy with her. So they decided, okay, if we get pregnant, that's great. So she came in, and she really wants to get pregnant. And the thing is, she's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. She's like, I don't know why I can't do this. And she's crying, and she's like taking all the burden on herself. And she's like, I was so worried that I was never going to get pregnant again, and no, I can't. And so I get to have that conversation with her and say, there's nothing wrong with you. Everything checks out fine. And she was just very sad. So by helping strengthen specific meridians and govern over hormones and all that kind of stuff, she was pregnant in 4 weeks.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And she would not believe it. I'm like, she's like, I'm not going to get excited yet. I'm like, okay, well, I'll get excited for you. And she's like, I don't even know. And it took her a couple of weeks to tell her husband, because she was just like, I don't believe this. Because she had been, it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow. 5 years of trying?
5 years of trying, and 5 years of feeling like there was something wrong with her. 5 years of feeling like she couldn't do what she wanted to do, or give her husband, another baby, or her daughter a sibling. And she was just taking it all on herself.
And within 4 weeks.
Yes. And I just told her, and we worked through that too, because I wanted to make sure that when she did get pregnant, she was able to enjoy it. So I get to have those conversations and do guided meditation and do other things to help kind of retrain the story that she's been telling herself about being pregnant, so that she releases those feelings and those memories so they don't carry on into pregnancy.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And
sorry to sidetrack here.
Yeah.
So how did you know what to do with Brooke when she walked in? I feel like she's had a lot of different tests done. She's had a lot of different symptoms. Like how did you know where to start with her?
Well, Brooke is like our ideal patient.
Thank you.
I mean, aside from everything perfect about her, because she has tried everything. And that's when and that's where we're like, great, then we know inside and out what's going on. So first thing we do is when a patient comes in, we do 2 appointments. So the first initial appointment is we talk to you head to toe, everything about you. We look at your tongue, we feel your pulses, we want to know it all, everything. Nobody tells us everything, and a lot of people aren't super connected with their bodies. So we get as much information as we can, and we do an acupuncture treatment. Then if it's like any kind of aches or pains or things like that, then we'll do cupping as well. So we want to also relieve the tension that on the back. One, because we have the spinal column. The spinal column has all of our nerves that are fed off the spinal column. If there's any tension or restriction in those muscles along the spine, the nerves aren't getting the nourishment that they need, and our body's not getting the signals that it needs. So by helping to open up the spinal column and get some good nourishing blood and oxygen and all that good stuff, and getting the discs some, juicy like hydration, our nerves are going to feed our body better as well.
Is that why athletes do it a lot? Just because their back's so tense, like swimmers from using their back muscles, and then it gets tight, so they need to
release.
That
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
what cupping does is all of our muscles sit in a fascia, kind of like a sausage. So cupping, once you put it onto the body, it helps to open up the fascia to allow the muscle to get better blood flow and oxygen, and also helps change the way that the muscle fires so that the fascia doesn't start creating a constriction.
Could that help with muscle growth if you're trying to build your muscles? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, it wants more flow. It wants more ability to grow to its potential.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So then they leave, and then within the next 3 to 5 days, we have our patients come back for a second appointment. And basically, it's going to be roughly chat for a couple minutes and then the same treatment that was before. two reasons for that is the first time people come, they're nervous.
Yeah.
And they're not going to fully relax. And it's new. And we have a lovely clinic, but still, I mean, they're coming in, they're going to lay on a table.
They don't know what to expect.
Or like me, I'm upset because I've told my story so many times that I'm like, I'm exhausted and anxious.
Yep. Yes. And so then the second time they come in, it's like we get to meet, we get to introduce ourselves twice. And because we want the patient to know that when you come in, it's going to get better and better each time. And it also helps them understand we're going to need to see you a couple times a week for the first couple weeks. And then we'll start to when we start seeing specific changes and percentage of changes, then we'll start changing the treatment plan. But it's helping them understand you come in and 98% of our patients fall asleep.
What?
Yeah. It's so relaxing.
It's like the most amazing nap you'll ever have.
I picture candles and incense in my picture.
And like music that you have on in a massage.
Like today, one of my sweet patients, love her to death. She has dry mouth. It's so bad. Poor thing. Nobody can help her. So she comes in and she's just, it's very nervous. And now this is her 5th time. She calls it her spa treatment. Before she was like, I don't.
How do you fix dry mouth? Or what meridian is...
That's because
I'm thirsty.
The yin meridians are the yin of the body. So there's yin and yang, right?
Yep.
So yin is the calming, cooling, peaceful, fluid, nighttime female aspect of our body.
Okay.
Yang is the fire, the active, the moving, the day, the male aspect. So women, as we age, our yin becomes deficient. It's kind of like estrogen becomes deficient.
That's why we get hotter.
Yep.
Why am I so sweaty from such a young age now?
You got too much young in you.
Because your tongue is pretty red.
Is it?
Yep. And it's just you have an underlying yin deficiency, and it will slowly get more and more as you get older. So by helping balance out now, it won't progressively get
my
worse.
mom had terrible hot flashes and really bad menopause. So you're saying I should get in now?
Get in
Oh,
now.
yeah. We got to get those needles in you.
But that's the thing, is like that would be preventative. You know what your mom went through, and you don't want to go through that.
And everything's been the same. Like we had really good birthing experiences. We had the same like menstrual cycle stuff. Like, yeah, I need to do some stuff.
Yep. And so that would be, to your point, someone who's super healthy that doesn't necessarily need any medical attention. Preventative. And that's a big one for women too. Like hot flashes aren't normal.
Yeah.
They're not normal for anyone. That's a sign to your body saying, please help me.
Well, I've learned that with any symptom I'm having, which has helped me not feel crazy when I'm feeling pain and everyone's dismissing it, is like, no, like you experiencing any sort of pain, any sort of abnormality is your body sending you a signal of, hey, something's off, help me.
Yep.
We just choose to not listen to it.
Right. So we had another little patient in. So Dr. Carrie, who's my associate, she's amazing. Love her to death. Known her since she was 16. She's incredible.
Shout out, Carrie.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, that girl. So she's our pediatric specialist. So she sees babies from like 3 months old to kids that are 14. So this cute little 2-year-old comes in. She's adorable. But their mom and dad are trying to potty train. And she doesn't want to poop. So now she's holding it in.
I feel her.
And now she's, and now she's constipated.
Oh.
So they came in, and so Dr. Carey does tuning forks on the acupuncture points to help clear the blockage. And this little girl goes home and had some good poops. So that's the thing too, is that like that
tuning forks. Wait, let's unpack that.
Yep. So tuning forks, do you know what those are?
No.
So it's like they use it for multiple reasons or multiple things. So it's metal, and it has like a little wand at the bottom, and then it has like a Y. And you hit it, and it goes to a specific tone, like B flat, A sharp,
Sure. Okay.
Tone. And then so we're 70% water, right? Again, with the ocean, right? So we got to get the current back in movement. We got to get back in flow. Otherwise there's going to be a tsunami, right? So you hit the tuning fork to create a vibration and a sound. And then you put the tuning fork on specific points to help with digestion to get that current moving.
It sounds like what I need. Am I too old?
No, that's what well, see, with you, that's what we do with the needles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, because, a 2-year-old's not going to do needles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this little girl's been pooping. And so she comes in once a week for her cute little, little tuning forks. And there's also like ear beads that we use, there's these little beads that we adhere to the ear with like Band-Aid adhesion. And they push on specific acupressure points to help stimulate that meridian to continuously rebalance. And we can do that for you today too. So it will help them stimulate the digestive system or stimulate the area of the brain that helps with sleep. And so this little girl, I mean, if you think about it, she's too young to understand what placebo effect is. Mm-hmm. And so then that's where her parents were like, no way. And so they keep bringing her back. And then Dr. Carey will prescribe like little tinctures for kids too that help with whatever. Mm-hmm. And so there's just so many different techniques and, opportunities to help people in different ways and meet them where they're at. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be acupuncture. It can be cupping. It can be herbal. Some people are like, I don't want needles, but I'll drink your disgusting tea. Okay.
Even I'd be the opposite way. I'd be like, put some needles in me.
Yeah, do it all.
We will.
Even the therapeutic aspect of it, of just having someone listen mm-hmm. and say, no, like this is normal. And even if you're throwing words at me that I don't understand, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's the beautiful thing is because we feel like we have a bazillion symptoms, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then in Chinese medicine, we can take someone that's like, yeah, I got hot flashes, I have palpitations, my mouth hurts when I eat sour food. I'm kind of anxious, my feet sweat, my eyes are red, and it's really weird, but my hair is dry. That is one meridian. Mm. One meridian that's not balanced.
Yeah. We
feel like we're a hot mess. When really, it's just probably a couple meridians that aren't balanced and they're not playing together nicely.
I feel like with, Brooke comes in with these physical ailments and pain. And I feel like it's so tied to mental health when you're in mm-hmm. pain. And like she's saying, like they're dismissing her pain mm-hmm. because you can't see it. You look at her, she looks like she's got it together. She's mm-hmm. got energy most of the time. She can bust a great dance move. Like she says she's in pain and people are like, yeah, but you're fine though. Look at you.
Fine.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that plays into your mental health mm-hmm. where, am I crazy that I'm feeling these things? Because I do look fine. I don't have any.
And there's worse things out there. People that are getting crazy diagnosis. So it's, how do my issues measure up to their, Yeah.
But I feel like it could be, mental health, significant events like trauma when you're younger that plays into your physical health, right?
Yes.
But then also, I feel like it gets exacerbated by feeling like you're crazy mm-hmm. and all these things. So I guess my question is how you address the mental health piece with the physical, like how that works together.
So the main part that I do is I help people understand what Chinese medicine is and how it works so that then I can help them understand that and acknowledge mm-hmm. and give validation to the fact that they're sad, they're mad, they're whatever, because this is what's going on with you and helping them to say, hey, here's why you have these symptoms. Here's why this is happening. It's not in your head at all. And giving them that opportunity to say, okay, what do you mean? And then explaining them to, like I just said, like if you have all mm-hmm. these symptoms, it's because, the Tai Yin meridian isn't talking to the Shao Yin meridian and they're, supposed to be friends. Mm-hmm. So by balancing these out, we can help remove some of these symptoms. And once some of the symptoms start falling away, we're going to get a better idea of like what the root cause is. Because mm-hmm. right now we're just trying to get rid of symptoms.
How do you get to that root cause?
Once specific symptoms fall off or mm-hmm. fall away, we look at the core. What symptoms are not moving? What symptoms are still there? How is this still impacting this person?
How do you tell someone you also really need therapy to address that traumatic event from your childhood or what you're facing right now? Like, how do you, as their doctor, doing a lot of this work that's balancing them out, mm-hmm. but this problem that's still there mentally, how do you get them to address that?
I'm very direct. So I have a patient that has ED, erectile dysfunction.
Okay.
So we've worked with that and things are going great. And there's still some issues though with the relationship, the partner. Mm-hmm. And I finally said, you just need to go to a sex therapist. Because what we talk about here, you're not talking about at home. And let's be honest, that's not going to help you.
Right.
And it's building up resentment on both sides. Mm-hmm. So even if we get things working, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. So you need to unpack whatever it is you've all been dealing with for the last couple of years, because it's just going to happen again. Mm-hmm. So I will do research, and I do have some wonderful referrals, whether it's for I'll ask people, do you like Mother Earth or do you want someone to tell you how it is? Because I got them both.
That's a great question.
Yeah, because we're different. Like I want someone to tell me how it is, but somebody else might want somebody, Mother Earth.
Whenever I give recommendations for my physician or therapist, I'm like, what? Well, mine kicks my ass and tells me how it is.
Right.
You might not like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where it's like, what do you need? Because I will, and that's
Meeting you where you're at.
Yes. And that was another really important part of building my practice is I want to have those referrals. I love having a big group of chiropractors. We got chiro moms. We got, family focus. Okay. Awesome. Great. Those are awesome for women and children, depending on where you live. Great. I got these corners mixed. Okay. This guy over here, he's amazing. He's a whack 'em and crack 'em. He's amazing. You'll love him. Oh, wait, you need somebody else that's going to hold your hand and massage you? Well, send you over here. Or even like physicians and pain clinics and psychotherapists.
It's a group effort.
Yes. And I have built relationships in so many different areas of medicine that I am so fortunate. I have this plethora of referrals. So I think it's important, and I want to collaborate with different practitioners and doctors and everything, because Chinese medicine is amazing, but we are complex humans that live in a very weird world. So we need a lot of help.
Yeah. You're an angel.
Amen to that.
Yeah, seriously. I think the world needs more people like you where there's room for everyone. There's room for all practices. There's mine's not the right way versus yours. Like we can all
help
be
each other
together and put the patient first. Like they need lots of things. And one is not better than the other or right for a person. Maybe one person only needs cupping and they're done. Maybe one person needs 7 doctors. I feel like Brooke needs a team to look at her. And I feel like you're such a perfect person to have in her life because you listen and you care.
Well, and also too, like, I think it's important. And, when I walk into my clinic, I have a strong faith. So I'm like, all right, God, let's go get this and help me check my ego at the door. Because it's not about me. It's about what does that person need? What can I do today? Help me show up for whoever comes in, and just, it's not about what I think they need. It's not about what I think they should do. And people are like, well, I don't think it's working. Okay.
Let's try someone else.
Yeah. Well, and what do you need? Where do you want to go? Or, I'm not looking to tell someone what they need to do. I'm just looking to be what they need. That's it. And if I'm not it, let's find just someone else.
That's amazing.
It's so fun. I love it. Every single day. I just love it.
I'm going to come in there because I want to try. I want to try everything. I'm going to do the sampler pack, whatever
and it's so fun. And the thing too now about that we have this beautiful space is we have what we call community style acupuncture. So we have private treatment rooms, and that's like an hour-long session. That's where you go, acupuncture, you can get cupping. We also do an herbal consult. But then some people are like, I don't want that. I don't want to wait that long. Or, maybe it's something to do with like finances. So we have community style acupuncture where it's kind of like also like like an urgent care. If you're like, my knee hurts, my head hurts, my mother-in-law's in town and I'm stressed, like whatever. I told him I was going to the market, but I need to get rid of this. So we have these beautiful, like lovely, comfortable lounge chairs that you come and sit in, and you just roll your pant legs up, roll your sleeves up, get a half-hour acupuncture treatment, help with pain, stress, whatever you got. And it's like $35. So you're in, you're out, and you're gone.
That's amazing.
Because we want to make sure, because we want to make sure that we are, because it's an out-of-pocket expense for people. And so many people are like, oh, I can't afford it. And it's like, do you have a cell phone?
Is that going to change at all though? Do you see that changing?
No, I don't.
Why?
Because insurance companies then will take over, and then they will tell me, oh, Brooke comes in with, oh, you have stomach issues? Okay, well, I can't treat you for that. But do you have a headache? Oh, I can treat you for that. But if I do treat her for her digestive issues and her headache, and I write that down, they're going to deny her claim. If I do treat her for her headache and digestion, but don't document that, now I just committed insurance fraud.
Oh.
So I want to be able to, and that's where like most chiropractors and physical therapies and things like that are getting away from insurance because they don't actually get to treat the patient.
Yeah.
They have to treat the code.
That's so sad.
That they'll get paid for.
It sucks being the patient.
Yeah. And,
right?
and a lot of the practitioners too.
Yeah. But when you explain it like that, it makes sense. I don't want to go see someone who isn't going to treat all these things going on and just focus on what's going to get them paid. And they don't want to do that either as a practitioner. So that
happens at the doctor's office with my kids. I remember one time I was sitting there with my kid for their checkup. You do the normal checkup. I asked one extra question that didn't have to do with, the standard questions. And she's like, I'm really sorry to do this. I love our relationship. I hope this doesn't ruin it, but you're going to get a charge for asking me that question. If we talk about it, you're going to get charged. And she needed my consent to answer a question. I see her once a year about this child, and I couldn't get an answer unless I was ready to pay money. I'm like, what is this? It's so messed up.
It is so messed up. And that's why we want to make sure that at EastWest we have different, financial opportunities for people and packages and payment plans, whatever it does, because I don't want price or finances to ever be a reason why people don't get healthcare.
And I can 100% back that up because I've been there and you've been amazing with that. And it is expensive, but it's worth it.
It is worth it.
And if it is too expensive, there are options. Like you're saying, there's always something that you can do to help, ways that you can make it work.
Absolutely. And that we don't want to create an added stress for anyone. We want to be that stress relief. And so we have a great team that works together to make sure that not only does that clinic run smoothly, but the patients are taken really good care of.
And they are. So if for anyone listening who is in the area or wants to come travel because it's worth it, where can they find you?
We are in Excelsior. So it's EastWest Acupuncture, and we work pretty closely with the Ridgeview Medical Center out in the west suburbs. So we are in the Ridgeview Medical Center building.
Okay. And for social media?
We are on YouTube, which is EastWest Acupuncture. Facebook, EastWest Acupuncture, Instagram, EastWest_Acupuncture, and our website. Our website is eastwest-acu.com.
A lot of great resources on all of those platforms. So highly recommend checking them out.
Yeah. Oh, and then Dr. Carrie is on TikTok, and she is hilarious. She is so quirky. It's so
What's
fun.
her TikTok handle?
That's a
We'll figure it out. We'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, perfect.
We'll link all of this for everyone listening. Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here.
You are such a light. I'm so happy we had you here.
Oh, thank you.
I have 45 more questions, so we'll just have to have you back.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. Absolutely. We can do it on specifics. We could do it. Yeah. I'm all in.
So much to talk about.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, before we jump into our 3 gold stars, just want to make sure everyone knows where to find us too. All of your resources. We'll plug all of Nikki's resources in our blog. So check out goldivyhealthco.com on our blog. And for all free resources, check us out on all of our socials at Gold Ivy Health Co. Nikki, any final wrap-ups you have for our listeners?
Yes. Pain, not sleeping, anything like that you tell yourself is normal. It's not normal. You have the opportunity. Your body is an amazing organism that can heal and recover. So anything that bothers you daily, go see someone, whoever it is, and we're happy to help you find any resource that you need. Life can be full of happiness, joy, and really good sleep.
Amen.
Amen. I love that.
All right. It's time for our 3 gold stars. Nikki, what you got for us?
Okay, number 1, if you haven't tried acupuncture, try it. It's amazing.
Simple. Do it.
2, please, if you sleep is the number 1 important thing for your body, for your brain, for everything, please get good sleep. If you need to figure out how to get good sleep, look it up, call us, something.
Episode 17 or contact Nikki.
Perfect. Because sleep is number 1, and it is, sleep. I would also say that exercise is really important as much, and it's not about a physicality. It's about movement. Our joints, our brain, everything needs movement. So move at least 3 times a week for at least 30 minutes.
I love it.
Beautiful. All right, now it's time for Unleashing Ivy surprise questions.
All right, here we go.
Are you ready?
So ready.
Okay. Nikki, what's one thing you do to center yourself when you're feeling off?
I do acupuncture and guided meditation. Definitely. I will definitely block out time. And I like to do it at the clinic where I'm not at home, because if I'm home, there's that, just that home energy. At the clinic, it's quiet, it's peaceful, and I won't be disturbed.
What does that guided meditation look like for you?
It's Bella Ruth Napperstack.
Excuse me? Bella Ruth Napperstack?
Miss Bella Ruth Napperstack.
Oh. Is it like an app?
It's because I am technically challenged. We do CDs. Yep, we still have CDs. So it's Health Journey, and I've been listening to her since I was like in my 20s. And to be honest with you, I don't know exactly. It's her voice. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's different affirmations, and the way she speaks, she starts in specific areas of the brain to help relax the brain.
Wow. All right, we're going to look into this and we'll plug this. Don't you guys worry.
It's amazing.
All right, next question. When you're really struggling with symptoms that you can't figure out, maybe aside from yourself, because you know the meridians, what steers you or a patient in a positive direction?
So if I'm not able to
figure out what's causing me to feel off,
I'm going to do a deep dive into understanding like what the functionality of that, where the symptom is. So if it's digestion, I'm going to do a deep dive. I'm going to figure out like what's, the liver doing, I'm going to figure out what the surrounding organs or muscle group or something, what the surrounding things should be doing to figure out why is there a dysfunction here. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking at all different aspects that could play and cause this one thing.
Well, I'm going to look at everything except for the issue. I'm going to look at what is this supposed to be doing? What is that supposed to be doing? What is this? What about that? And want to see if anything that's around the surrounding area isn't working right. That might be the cause of the problem. So I actually just stop looking at the issue and look at the surrounding area.
So like for my stomach, let's not even look at my stomach. Let's look at everything else.
Yep.
Is what you're saying?
Yep. So like that's why I said, okay, your stomach hurts. How's your menstrual cycle? How's your sleep? How's your stress? How's this? How's that? Because I want to see what the other aspects that work with that function, how are they working? Which one of those areas is causing this?
Interesting.
Got it. All right. And last question. What is one thing you wish you would have known sooner?
I wish I would have known that talking to patients about emotions was going to be so difficult because we are not in touch with emotions. So if I ask a patient, how are you feeling? Fine. Okay. So if you're not in a good mood, what kind of mood you in? I'm usually okay. So what emotion do you feel? And it just trying to like understand, like, I wish I would have just saying like, okay, so here's what I wish I would have learned how to be more direct about asking about emotions because we're not really connected to our own emotions unless we're reacting to something. Then we know what that emotion feels like.
How do you get people to take that deeper dive into their emotions? And
I've learned how to ask questions that the patient needs to answer. Meaning, like, you can ask a question and be like, oh, how you doing? They're like, great. So then I started asking, so if you and your husband are arguing and your husband, thinks that he's right, you think that you're right, how do you feel? And they're like, what? Well, where do you feel that? I'm like, are you mad? Are you sad? Are you happy? Are you angry? I'm angry. Oh, okay. So you're angry. Do you feel angry in your head, your chest, or your gut?
Oh, mine's my gut.
Yep. And some people are like, my chest. So then that helps me understand, okay, when you're angry, it's this and that becomes the driving force. Or if they're like, oh, you feel sad. Oh, when you're sad, do you want a hug? Or do you want to go hide in the closet? Oh, I want a hug. Oh, okay. So it tells me that this meridian is deficient. If you want to go in the closet, it tells me this meridian is way too full.
Really? I gotta get to EastWest. Check this out.
you will. I'll take you there.
Yeah. I'll be there.
Great. Because you're who I want to see.
Coming for you. Well, before we wrap up with our piece of gold, just want to thank you again.
Yes.
You are a piece of gold. I'm so grateful to have met you and to know you and to be working with you. So thank you for all you are doing for everyone and including me.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I had so much fun. Brooke, you're amazing. You are just a gem. I love what you girls are doing here, and I appreciate getting the word out about how important health, wellness, and happiness is. So thank you guys for what you do and the information and content and education that you provide. It's golden. Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaking of gold, do you have a piece of gold for us that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Yes. Just relax. Live life. Stop worrying about tomorrow. And yesterday's gone. So just enjoy and be nice to yourself. Treat yourself like you treat your best friend.
This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold.